into the heat of battle. Go for it.
Fuck you. Seriously. Fuck you.
I heard he was like crying and everything, so that was pretty funny.
You know what? Shut the fuck up.
Alright, we got the man of all hate, the one and only DSP. Dark Side Phil. I call him Phil, because Phil's cool. Anyhow, Phil, how you feel about ST? You already know, that's the first question. You already know how you feel about ST. That's the first thing I gotta know, how you feel about ST.
I always feel good about ST. It would have been nice if we could have got some casual play in, but there wasn't any casual to be had so far. So.
Right on. What do you think about the tournament so far?
It just started, really. I mean, I don't know. Can't hear it?
Alright, well, aside from that, I mean, the whole internet beef with the whole ST thing, man. I mean, we've already talked about it. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, how about you let these people know the real Phil, the real reason for the hate. Let them know.
The real reason for the hate is because people just have massive disrespect. I mean, for years these same guys are on top, and yes, I'm talking about John Choi, I'm talking about Alex Valle, playing ST, placing. Okay, they're good, but to disrespect the people that got top 8 at Evolution, to make excuses because it's on console, it's ridiculous, and it's unacceptable. For Valle to say that just because he didn't enter the tournament is the reason that the top 8 got top 8, that's bullshit. And I think that he needs to really prove himself and actually redeem himself for saying something like that, because it's disrespectful to everyone who did place top 8.
I mean, you're hearing it straight from Phil. I mean, anything else you want to say on that, my friend? Anything else? That's it?
You know, everyone says that I'm a big hater, but I only hate on people because they hate on me first. So everything that I say on the internet may be in good fun, but it's just in reaction to all the other bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. We'll see today what really happens when Valle and Choi play me on an arcade cabinet and see what new excuse they can think up.
There you go. You heard it from DSP. Straight from DSP. DSP, thank you. Check out the shirt.
Hate this, bitch!
Hate that. DSP for the win. Thank you for your time, homie. Thank you for your time. All right, man.
Fuck you. Because that's where it fucking belongs, in the fucking trash. When a company tells you that they're more important than you and they own you, that's what you fucking do with them. Fuck the Wii U and fuck Nintendo. That thing doesn't deserve to get a fucking volt of my electricity right now, because Nintendo is a bunch of fucking assholes. So fuck you, Nintendo. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You need to grow the fuck up. But as you work on this project, you realize that it's going to be more and more expensive than you originally thought it was going to be. So originally I was thinking a price point of maybe $700-800, maybe $1,000 tops for building this PC. But as Chris and I went back and forth talking about the build of this PC, we realized more and more, oh man, if we want to have that graphics card, we got to have this better power supply. Oh man, well, if the RAM, we might want to have this amount of RAM, because if you're going to be doing that amount of video editing, you might need this amount of RAM, okay? So initially what I wanted to be maybe between $700 to $1,000. By all is said and done, first of all, I can't even tell you what it cost because I can't find the damn receipts. Chris actually went... Hey, what's up everyone? It's DSP, and I'm doing a kind of unexpected video tonight. For everyone, you know, who's been asking me, no, I did not attend Evolution 2010 this year. This year, because of what's going on with Super Battle Opera and my chance to basically qualify for Team USA, I've been focusing all my Street Fighter efforts there, and subsequently I've been saving up my money to go to the trip to Tennessee and then hopefully to Japan if I qualify. However, this doesn't mean that I'm not interested in what's going on at EVO. And tonight, I was watching the stream, EVO 2010 Super Street Fighter 4 semifinals, and I'm sure this is pretty much live. I'm making this video immediately after I saw it. I want to give you my thoughts on what just happened. Justin Wong just got eliminated from the Super Street Fighter 4 tournament before he made top 8. That's right, he didn't even make it into the top 8. And the biggest news is that he lost first to a Zangief player from California who plays on a gamepad, and then he lost to an Adon player who I believe was from, they were saying either Taiwan or Korea, and I apologize, his name's GamerB, but I didn't pick up on that. But wow. First of all, a lot of people, you know, they're nut huggers, dick riders. They say Justin Wong is the god of fighting games and all that. I think a lot of people just got shut up. Don't get me wrong, Justin Wong is an amazing player. But if anyone were to quit their full-time job and focus only on playing Street Fighter like he's done for the past several years, they'd probably be winning pretty much every tournament they entered as well. I'm sorry to say that. You know, someone like me, I love fighting games, I love Street Fighter, but I don't want that to become my occupation in my life. So I would never be willing to do something like that. He made that choice, and because of that, he's become the national champion for several years, but I think he just got knocked down a peg. What I really want to talk about is, you know, everyone I'm sure is going to say Justin Wong sucks, Justin Wong this, Justin Wong that, you know, all this controversy. What I really want to say is, this was a long time coming, and to be honest, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. I think the real reason that this happened this year is because there were a lot of different international players who showed up at EVO who usually don't come to the United States. Let me explain what I mean. In the United States, for Street Fighter tournaments, what frequently happens is, in this competitive tournament scene, since the United States doesn't have as much competition as, say, Japan, we really tend to, in our competitive scene, lean towards the most overpowered characters in a fighting game. So for example, in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, most tournaments saw people picking Chun-Li, Ken, and Yun all the fucking time, and they constantly made the top 3 in every single Third Strike tournament. And don't get me wrong, there are people who like picking other characters, but consistently that was what was happening. When Street Fighter 4 came out, this was like a resurgence in the Street Fighter community, but what did you see? Frequently you saw Saga, you saw Rufus, you saw Ryu, you saw maybe the top, same 5 characters that were winning every single tournament in the United States. And it's kind of sad when you see that, because the truth is, and this is the truth since way back to Super Turbo, which is the game that I love and I play at a competitive level, is that regardless of tiers, if you play a game hard enough, if you put the dedication and time into a game to learn a character, chances are that most characters can be competitive. This was very true in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Even though, sure, there are tiers in that game, and everyone knows T-Hawk kind of sucks, Cammy is pretty much the worst in the game, Blanca's bad. Go look at the results from X-Mania, or go look at the results from Super Battle Opera from the past couple of times that Super Turbo's been there. It's a variety of people and a variety of characters who are winning that tournament, and it's because, again, at a competitive level, overall in these games, if you master these characters, you can win a tournament with them. So it really saddens me because I've kind of been following along the stream the past couple of days to see what was going on, and from what I heard, only one person even entered the tournament with Hakan. Well, I don't think entered the tournament, but kind of made it to the stream, meaning basically everyone was a big pussy. No one wanted to take a chance to try to win with a character like Hakan. I think there were only maybe 1 or 2 guys that made the stream. It seemed like everyone was, again, picking maybe the same 10 characters, the ones that we know are good, the staples, the Shotos, the Guiles. A lot of people picked Jury, but then there were a lot of Rufuses, Chun-Li's, who everyone says is better in this game, Abel, who everyone says is better in this version of the game. And it saddens me when you don't see some of these other newer characters getting picked when the potential, I feel, is there. It's not like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 where there was one godlike tier that dominated the entire game and then no one else really had a chance. I think that Super Street Fighter 4 is really going to be more like Super Turbo, where when it comes down to it, there will be a lot of characters who will play at a competitive level when people put the time in to learn these characters. So, getting back to the subject of Justin Wong's loss tonight, am I at all surprised that Justin Wong lost? If this were a tournament where it was the same old faces who had shown up, I would say, yes, I'd be super surprised that Justin Wong was upset in this tournament. Because, like I said, the competitive tournament scene, as long as I've been involved in it, seems to have this plague of people who just want to abuse the top tiers in the United States. And that's sad, because, like I said, there are a lot of games where there's capability for these characters who aren't overpowered or known to be in the top tier, that they can win if you put more time and more effort into learning the characters and the gameplay. So what I really feel has happened with Justin is, since he's dedicated his full time to learning these games, he's pretty much just said, well, I can't learn absolutely everything, especially when I play all games. He doesn't just play Street Fighter 4, he played Street Fighter 3, he played Marvel 2, he played TVC, he plays a whole bunch of different games. And so he says, I'm just going to learn, you know, these top tier strategies and maybe learn one or two other characters so I have alternates just in case there's a really bad matchup situation when I play in a tournament. Well, I think finally today, we've learned definitively it doesn't fucking work when you get a tournament like EVO this year, which had 1,700, approximately 1,700 entrants. It's not just like the old days where there used to be a couple hundred people, maybe 20 of them were actually good. I mean, I get the feeling there were a lot of really good players at EVO this year that were really dedicated to playing Super Street Fighter 4. I would say even more so than last year, because when Street Fighter 4 was released, at first a lot of people were probably apprehensive and weren't sure if the game was going to be a competitive game. They weren't sure if it was going to be good or if it was going to be, you know, broken, and they weren't going to want to play it. But now that people are seeing that the game is worthy of being tournament worthy, there's now these third-party companies who are sponsoring players and taking them into the fold and paying them to go to these tournaments and represent their products. It's now to the point where, you know, a lot of people are taking this seriously. And I really feel that as a country, if the United States is really going to progress and be as good as a country like Japan, we're going to have to cut out this easy mode bullshit, stop playing the same handful of fucking characters because it's easy to win with them, and instead we're going to have to sit down and learn every character and learn the matchups and put in the work and dedication to really be good. That's the bottom line. And, you know, it really frustrates me because results dictate easy mode mentality. And when I say that, I mean, take a look at the SBO results for the past 5 to 10 years. Every time that the US gets in, you know, an SBO invite for any game, and I'm not just talking Super Turbo, I'm talking Third Strike, I'm talking, you know, any game that we go there for, it seems like when it comes to Street Fighter, the people who qualify are picking these top tier characters, and as soon as they get over there, they get their asses fucking slapped around and handed to them, including Justin Wong, who pretty much goes to SBO every year for free because he qualifies somewhere, goes to Japan, and gets his ass beat. So it's pathetic. It really is. I mean, in the US, it seems like the competitive gaming aspect of fighting games is finally, at this point, just starting to come to the forefront. It's becoming almost like a tournament sport where someone like Justin could play it full time and make enough money and get enough sponsorship to do it as a job as opposed to just a hobby like it is for me. And so now I think it's going to be time where people are going to start to take it a lot more seriously. People like Justin Wong are going to have a lot harder time winning all the time. I know that, you know, Justin's loss is going to cause all this kind of controversy and all that, but, you know, just keep in mind, again, it's this US mentality is the reason why he lost. He's probably never fought a good Zangief, because since Zangief was toned down in Super Street Fighter 4, no one picks him anymore. I mean, let's be honest, I go online, even online, I don't see as many Zangiefs anymore. They're all doing the same stuff from Street Fighter 4. No one's really learned the changes. This one guy comes out from California, plays on a fucking gamepad, and beats everyone's ass. It's pathetic. And then an Adon player? Adon, from all, you know, reports, is one of the hardest characters to learn in this game because he has no actual easy chains. They're all really precise timing links to even get anything to combo with him. And what this guy was pulling off tonight against Justin was fucking amazing. He was doing shit I've never seen before. Jabs into fierces into fucking knee, and you know, yeah, he was doing the FADC into the Ultra constantly, and it doesn't do a lot of damage, but he was fucking mind-fucking Justin Wong, because Justin had no idea what the capabilities of this character were. And it's sad because he's supposed to be our national champion, and the kid doesn't even understand a lot of the characters in the game after it's already been out for over 2 months. So I guess it is what it is. It's sad that, you know, our national champion is out of the tournament, but at least this is going to give an opportunity for others to step up. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the rest of the tournament. However, it all depends. I'm probably going to be busy tomorrow. I don't have a whole weekend to watch an EVO stream. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. And just as a proof, you know, that someone like Justin Wong isn't, you know, invincible, Justin Wong was pretty much beating everyone on the East Coast in Super Turbo until I stepped up a couple years ago and I beat him twice, once at Evo East 2006 and once in 2007. And basically then he came to me and he said, Phil, you're the best Super Turbo player on the East Coast. I mean, hands down. You know, and it's not my specialty. You know, I try to learn this top tier stuff, but you are the best. And, you know, since then, it's kind of sucks because there really hasn't been anything going on. There hasn't been an Evo East. I haven't gone to Evo since 2007. I've been too busy with other stuff in my life. But it is what it is. And so learning this just basic top tier stuff is not going to hang it anymore in the United States. So I hope the players understand that. And I hope that this kind of motivates people. I hope that this motivates people to know that if you like a game and you like a character in the game, don't listen to tier rankings. Don't listen to this fucking naysaying bullshit. You're going to take your licks if it's a character who's not as good as the other characters. But let me tell you something. If you focus on playing that character, you learn the matchups, you really dedicate the time, and you get the experience, chances are you will get wins. I'm not saying you're going to be the fucking world champion, but you're going to represent and you're going to get wins. It's that simple. You're going to run into tournaments like this where people aren't prepared to face these characters that, you know, aren't commonplace, and they're going to get fucked up. So, if anything, this results of this tournament hopefully will motivate more people to pick more variety of characters. And when I say that, I don't mean that tomorrow, if I go online and I see 72,000 fucking add-ons. I mean that people actually pick the characters that they like the character design of and the fighting style of, and they run with that. Me, myself, I've known this, and you know what? As you've seen on my DSP Street Fighter channel, I've been motivated, and I've been picking Hakan, and to be completely honest, I haven't really dedicated myself to Super Street Fighter 4 because I'm playing for SBO, but as soon as SBO is over, if there's local tournaments, I'm going to do my damnedest to get to them and to play with Hakan, to learn him, and to do well. Because I think Hakan is a character that has massive potential, and no one in the US has really explored it because they're all fucking lazy. The only other one piece of proof that I can really add to this argument is that Long Island Joe, don't get me wrong, he's a good guy, but last year he was one of the best in the US at at regular Street Fighter 4. This year, he said, you know what, I'm going to stick with my character, Saga. I'm going to stick with him. And what happened? Guess what? He got fucking hosed, okay? He didn't get completely thrown out of the tournament right away, but he didn't make top 8. I don't think he even made top 16. I think he was in the top 32. And out of that, no one else picked Saga. I think it's really because this proves the reason that everyone was winning with Saga last year is not because they were actually good at the game or because they were actually, you know, masters of what was going on in matchups. They just picked an overpowered character, played him as long as they could, and now that he's toned down, everyone's dropping him like fucking flies. It's pathetic. And that's the mentality in the US. So, anyway, crazy hype on the stream. I have to actually give props to the Evo staff and also to the people who were running the stream. Yesterday the stream sucked dick because they had it up with like some Twitter chat or whatever, but they ditched that. Today the stream was excellent. It dropped maybe once, but besides that I've been watching it for like 3 or 4 hours at this top 32. Excellent quality. Good job, guys. I give you a lot of props for that. It's hard to pull off when you have people, you know, constantly jumping on the stream, and you really pulled through there in the top 32. I hope that everything goes well tomorrow for the finals. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it, but good job. And that's it. So, take heart. I say, you know, if you like fighting games, don't be discouraged when you see the same people winning all the time. I get the feeling this is going to change now. I get the feeling there's enough people playing these games that they're going to start picking new characters, and we're going to see some changes. And I hope that's true. And hopefully, I'll deliver next year, and my Hakan will kick everyone's ass. But a lot of time between now and then. So, this is DSP. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you, you like the fact that I kind of speak out my mind when I see stuff like this. And if anything else ever comes up in the community like this, I will also speak my mind. So, thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.
Hard wants to speak.
Let me ask you something, Mike. Do you or Maximilian have more subscribers on YouTube?
I don't know. Maybe Max? I haven't checked in like a month or two. Last I checked.
Do you have more than DSP yet?
I don't know who that is.
Nobody has more than DSP. DSP sells Speedos with his name on it, I think. So you cannot. I think so, yeah.
Mike, if you made Speedos with your name on it, I would wear it.
What about if I had my face on it?
I would wear it backwards so it would be on my balls.
John, in 2005, I think it was, the three of you were absent from ST Top 8. What happened that year? You can defer that question if you'd like.
I think it was a combination of, I think it was the first console ST that we played on for a while, and we just kind of took it lightly, thinking that it's pretty much the same as arcade. So I really didn't get that version, go out of the way to get it and practice on it. And when we actually got there, it wasn't that different, but the minor differences were enough to throw us off. And yeah, I lost really fast, and then so did everybody.
It was probably
else.
on Turbo 3 or something, you know?
So yeah, it was just a little bit different than what we're used to. So, but after that, I kind of learned my lesson to always get the version that they're going to play on, because you can't just assume that everything's going to be exactly as you remember. So.
How about you, Mike? What happened that year for you?
Is that the year PlayStation 1 was involved? Can we be real specific, or do you not know?
There was a problem. I think it was the PlayStation version.
Because when you play Bison and you hit a fierce flame and it only goes like 20% of the screen, you got a problem with the game. And you got some,
that's the answer I was looking for.
You got some idiot named DSP who's a total piece of shit, by the way. I like to get that on YouTube, but this guy thought he was hot shit because he beat me and Choi in a game that was like. It's like fucking Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap, dude. and he was so proud that he put under his signature, he's the #1 U.S. ranked Super Turbo player that year. But I mean, look at him now. I mean, he's just... No, he's got 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. 20,000 idiots are subscribed to him. That's great. Congratulations. Congratulations with your YouTube channel, and hope you enjoy your life, bro. I mean... It's a great victory, PlayStation 1 Super Turbo champion. You take that to your grave, bro. Good luck.
Alex, what is the Street Fighter community?
What is your response to Justin Wong saying that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is cheap and easy? And that's from Ryo Horikawa. What he's referring to is that Justin Wong made a Twitter comment a couple days ago saying, well, I've played Marvel 3 and the game is very cheap and easy. And then a bunch of people gave him shit for it, saying, what do you mean by that? Are you talking shit about Marvel 3? And he responded, well, I don't mean to say that I hate the game. I actually think the game's fun, but it's the cheapest game ever made. Okay. All I'm going to say is this, because Justin's been saying some really fucking stupid stuff. First, he talked shit last year about Adon in Super Street Fighter 4 before he even put significant time into the game, and gets his ass handed to him by GamerB in Evolution. That became a big thing, where everyone basically said, ha ha, you're an idiot for saying dumb stuff like that without actually putting the time in. Here we are, launch week of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he thinks he knows everything about the game already. I mean, what fucking planet does he live on at this point? Let me say this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it at this because I don't want to go off on a tangent any longer than I have to. Justin Wong plays Super Street Fighter 4, a game with input shortcuts and the largest reversal window in any fighting game ever created. It is the easiest fighting game to play. Now, that's not to say that on a competitive level that you can win in tournaments. That's not easy. But just to learn the game and be able to play it on at least a semi-competitive level is pretty damn easy. So for someone who is basically plays that game, makes money off of that game, to make this kind of a comment about a brand new game that he hasn't even played yet, that's really damn hypocritical, and he needs to stop making Twitter posts like that. And I said this before, he needs a publicist who would shut him up when he has to say stupid stuff like that. Justin Wong made a Twitter comment a couple days ago saying, well, I played Marvel 3 and the game is very cheap and easy, and then a bunch of people gave him shit for it, saying, what do you mean by that? Are you talking shit about Marvel 3? And he responded, well, I don't mean to say that I hate the game. I actually think the game's fun, but it's the cheapest game ever made. Okay. All I'm going to say is this, because Justin's been saying some really fucking stupid stuff. First, he talked shit last year about Adon in Super Street Fighter 4 before he even put significant time into the game, and gets his ass handed to him by GamerB in Evolution. That became a big thing, where everyone basically said, ha ha, you're an idiot for saying dumb stuff like that without actually putting the time in. Here we are, launch week of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he thinks he knows everything about the game already. I mean, what fucking planet does he live on at this point? Let me say this. I'm gonna say this, and in particular, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is a piece of shit game. Really, I don't even know how anyone could call it a game, because it's not. It's a stupid rock, paper, scissors where someone gets one hit and wins the whole fucking match. Or, on the other flip side of that, someone gets insanely lucky, activates their X Factor, and then wins the whole fucking match. It's garbage. That's not, at a meta game, that's not what a fighting game's supposed to be about. You know? But that's what they made it about, because they wanted to make a game that was flashy, that the crowd would love to watch, and that there was always a chance that no matter how bad you were, that you could come back randomly at the end. It's garbage. The game is garbage. And I'm telling you that wholeheartedly as someone who's been around since I played the very first Versus game, X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is complete and utter trash when it comes to a competition level. However, because the money's in it and because it's so flashy and it's a crowd favorite, it still gets a lot of attention, which is kind of unfortunate. Prevents other great games from getting attention and being made. But I digress. Without actually putting the time in. Here we are, launch week of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he thinks he knows everything about the game already. I mean, what fucking planet does he live on at this point? But that doesn't change the fact that there are irrefutable facts about what you're reviewing that need to be expressed completely. So allow me to tell you some facts about Murdered Soul Suspect. Fact number 1, the game is longer than 4 hours. Anyone on the internet or on the planet Earth who says that this game is 4 hours long is a fucking liar. Because the only way that I can possibly see you beating this game in 4 hours is if you know exactly where you're supposed to be going, what you're supposed to be doing, you skip every single piece of side content and supplemental material in the game, which is the point of the game, is to find them to flesh out the story, and you just rush through it, only doing the necessary things to progress to the next portion of the game. Okay? So unless that's how you're supposed to play the game, which it's not, because you wouldn't even get the full story of the game, anyone who says that this game is 4 hours long is a fucking dishonest asshole, only saying that to try to get some kind of attention for themselves. Okay? That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's fact. And you can see that if you just watch the playthrough up to now. Now, I have not uploaded all the videos of the playthrough yet. I think there's 6 or 7 yet that I have not uploaded. Those are going to go up tonight in addition to some of the content from tonight's stream. Okay? But you can't irrefute it. You can't. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, another fact about this game. Okay? The game is going to be a game that if you like narrative, if you like story, if you like that kind of thing, you're going to like this game. Okay? Because that's what the game is focused on, to telling an interesting murder mystery story with a supernatural twist. If you're a gamer who is in it for hours and hours of gameplay, all I care about is the difficulty of my gameplay and the amount of it that I get, this is not the game for you. Okay? That's a fact. Anyone who's of that opinion that I want really challenging, difficult gameplay, or I want a ton of it, you're not going to like this game. Because it's light on the gameplay. It's more just kind of guiding your hand through an interactive story. Okay? Now, I'm not saying either way that that's good or bad. That's up to you to decide. But for people who have reviewed this game early, to say falsities about it is completely irresponsible, and those people should be fired. Okay? I'm going to throw this out there, because this is what everyone is talking about. The person from IGN who rated this game a 5 or a 5.5, I believe it was a 5.5 out of 10, basically is a person that is not a professional at what they do, because if you're a professional, you try to hold yourself with some kind of dignity and regard and professionalism, because you realize that whatever you do could actually influence people's opinions and that people are going to listen to what you're saying. Okay? Without actually putting the time in. Here we are, launch week of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he thinks he knows everything about the game already. I mean, what fucking planet does he live on at this point? But what really happened was, this morning when I woke up, actually, I've been talking all this week about how earlier in the week I seem to have hurt a nerve in my neck. And I've had shooting pain down the right side of my neck, all the way through my back and shoulder here, down through my arm, all the way up to my thumb. And then also I have it shooting some down the side of my side right here. And obviously it's not a good thing. And I'm kind of worried a little bit that it's probably going to be the same problem that I have in my lower back with my legs, and over the course of my life, it's probably every couple of years going to aggravate another disc in my back or whatever that's just compensating for the other discs that are hurt, and eventually I'm probably going to have multiple surgeries. But that's life. I can't afford it right now, and I definitely can't afford to not be working or making videos working because I need to be making money right now to pay my bills and see if this is going to work out as any kind of an extended thing. So, anyway, bottom line was, I was hoping I was going to be able to play today. I did enter, I was in Marvel 3, I was in Super Turbo Singles, and first match that I had in Marvel 3 was against Sanford. Of course I groaned, but the thing is, Sanford, as you even said, he doesn't really like Marvel 3, he's not very good at it. And we were playing, and it wasn't any kind of a horrible, destruction, but he did pretty good against me, he beat me. But here's what happened. Basically, I sat down, I started playing, and he got me a couple times, and eventually my Sentinel came in, and I tried to, in the first match, I tried to X Factor, and just to let you know, my thumb is completely numb. I can't feel it. I feel nothing in my thumb at all, okay? It's completely numb, so it has to be a nerve pinch in my neck. And I did X Factor like this, which I can do with the 4 fingers, and because I couldn't feel my thumb, I didn't realize my thumb had pushed down, so I pressed it again by accident, and what happened was Sentinel went X Factor and then did a stupid launcher in the middle of the screen for no reason, which Sanford was able to punish. He beat my ass. I said, shit, that kind of sucks. Then in the second match, all of a sudden, I started to get intense tenseness down my right arm, and even I was launching with Sentinel, and I was just, Sentinel's air combo is very basic in Marvel 3. It's just medium, medium, special, and then you off the ground when you land with a rocket punch. I was launching and I jumped. I couldn't even do the 4 hits. I was like tensing up, or I was doing it and I was like and then I just couldn't even do 4 freaking basic hits. And so yeah, after that match, I was really not feeling well. My whole arm was just really felt tense and not good. Again, my thumb is still completely numb. So I waited it out. I wanted to see what was going to happen, and then by the time it was time for me to play my next match, I said forget it. I forfeit my tournaments. What's going on, everyone? DSP here, and I am finally back from Winter Brawl. I'm going to say finally like it was a long time. It was only 3 days. Yeah, I'm finally home. I'm relaxing. My neck, just so everyone knows, yeah, it is really sore still, and I am hoping that it's going to get better over the course of this week. I have a hypothetical of what might have happened. As you might have seen if you've watched my condo tour, I have a special pillow on my bed because I am a side sleeper, and it really helps out with my neck and my back. And I just realized, at Winter Brawl, the hotel rooms, they don't have that kind of support pillow. Those pillows are really fluffy, but they give in. Like, there's no real support there. I was sleeping on 3 pillows to try to get some support for my neck and back. And I'm thinking, maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why my neck hurts so bad. Maybe that's why my arm, because honestly, my neck hurts right now, but my arm is feeling a little bit better. And maybe it's just because, I don't know, I'm not sleeping on that bed anymore. I don't know. It could be one of a million things, but it did happen earlier in the week, and I thought it was getting better, and then it kind of got aggravated while I was at the tournament. It just could have been the stress of the tournament as well. But one more thing for people that saying that it's an excuse. Yeah, it's a real excuse that I paid money to enter tournaments and then decided to just forfeit my matches. I like throwing away my money. That's what I like to do. I like to take 20s and roll them up and just burn them. Because I have money just fucking raining from the sky, People are so stupid with the stuff that they say, I swear to God. Mostly. And I had a great time, first of all. Lots of fun. And hoping that with all the video footage that I got, with all the gameplay that I'm going to be uploading over the next day or so, that it's going to more than pay for the trip It probably will, and hopefully by final round I'll have the, everything will be back to normal. But I don't know, especially with these nerve in your neck issues and your back. It could be pretty dangerous. What's going on, everyone? DSP here, and if you can't already tell from the sound of my voice, I am under the weather today. Yesterday actually was really bad. I was so sick that my throat was like so sore yesterday that I could not talk at all. So, but today, what am I going to do? First of all, as you can hear, like I can already tell it's dripping. I'm all congested. I need to constantly blow my nose and clear my throat. So it's not going to make any sense to do like continue a playthrough, for example, stacking or anything like that, because I'm not going to be able to talk for any extended period of time. Now, because I am under the weather, a couple things. First of all, there was supposed to be an Ask the King today, and that's going to be postponed. And if the problem is it can't be next week, because next week I'll be traveling to Final Round, which is the next stop on the road to EVO, regarding Street Fighter tournaments anyway, and that's in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'll be traveling on Thursday. So basically, Ask the King is going to get bumped 2 weeks, and it sucks, but there's nothing much I can do. Like you can hear, I have to constantly be clearing my throat here. It's not going to make any sense for me to do Ask the King. I'm going to sound horrible, and I'm going to feel like crap doing it. So, is there anything like that? There's too much going on. Bulletstorms, people have been asking me, am I going to play Bulletstorm online? Eventually I might, but as you see, I have no time right now, and again, with this sickness, with my voice and everything, I can't talk for an extended period. Also, I have to say, when you go to these tournaments, patience. Patience is a virtue. You're going to need a lot of it. And the other thing is, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but every tournament I go to these days, I still see it. There's still a lot of elitism and favoritism towards the known players, meaning you might end up standing around staring, saying, all of these stations are occupied. Why? I thought there was supposed to be casual play at this tournament. Then you find out that one top Marvel player is running a one station over there and refuses to get up. One top Street Fighter 4 player is on that station over there doing a money match. And that kind of stuff ends up happening, and stations end up getting hogged. And it is really fucking annoying. Now, when I go to these tournaments, I say, hey, guess what? Such and such, I've known you for 10 years. Get the fuck off this station because I want to play the game. And usually, when you threaten them like that, they get the fuck up because none of them want to fight. None of them want to step outside and get their ass beat. But,
Jackson, did you have any more honorable, dishonorable mentions?
I guess I would agree with you with DSP.
Yeah, my boy.
Because what DSP does, like, in person he's all nice to me and shit, but and then when he makes a YouTube video, he thinks he's all hard and crap.
Uh-huh.
So that's what gets me pissed off. Like, do you guys remember the whole thing with DSP and, like with the West Coast people, where they almost, like, he was, like, really scared because he was about to get beat up?
He was about to get roughed up. Yeah, I remember that in San Diego.
I think Jaha approached him at EVO or something, right?
EVO West, was that the San Diego event? Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Jaha and like Watson were like looking for him if he ever came down to one of the EVO events or something.
Yeah, so like he was like, I heard he was like crying and everything. So that was pretty funny.
Hey, that's what. Oh my god, that's just about it. Street Fighter tournament. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The fighting game tournament in Philadelphia, starting on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. It's a 2-day event. It is the first event where there's going to be a major Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tournament, so it's pretty much the first major tournament in the entire U.S. for that game. I'm dying to get there. I've been having lots of difficulties finding transportation, but over the past day, even the tournament organizer, his name's Eric, and everyone calls him Big Eric because he's a really big guy. He wants me to go. He's dying for me to be there because we're friends. We've known each other for 100 years. We were both, active tournament organizers. I actually fell off from doing that, but he still does it and runs 3 major tournaments a year. And he really wants me to be there, but it's just hard because trying to get from Connecticut to Philly, the easiest way is a ride, but it seems like either no one's passing through Connecticut or no one's willing to offer me a ride for selfish fucking reasons, apparently, because I already offered to pay my way. I would pay for gas. Hell, I'd pay for meals. I'd do whatever it was needed that they felt to go out of their way to pick me up, and no one's made an offer. So besides that, I've been trying to figure out, logistically, would it be reasonable to go on a train? But then I found out I have to take a train from Connecticut to New York, go on a subway transfer to another train station, go from that train station to Philly, and then try to find a ride from the Philly train station to the venue of the tournament, all while lugging around luggage, recording equipment, and a gaming joystick. And being that the reason I can't drive in the first place is my back is back. My back is bad. yeah, it's not reasonable. It's not going to happen. If I were to do that, I'd probably end up in so much pain for the whole weekend. It's not even worth it to go. A couple video series relating to gaming. He also interviewed John Rambo recently. His question is this: Hey Phil, here's something I really want to know. What do you think about people who break street dates on games? But do you think that breaking street dates on any video game is wrong no matter what, even if the person is not putting up videos or streams online? Well, there's a couple exceptions. The exceptions would obviously be if you're a reviewer or you're working for gaming media and they give you an advanced copy of the game. That's different. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But I think that any illegal means of getting games is wrong. I'm sorry, but that's just my feeling. You know, unlike some of these things that come out that are pirated, such as music or movies, I think that games right now are on the up and up, and there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of effort into these, and it's a new medium, and a lot of people, you know, you're basically robbing them if you download a game. Perfect example here, and this really fucking pissed me off, was when Super Street Fighter 4 came out earlier this year. I knew of certain people who had found a leak. Basically, the game had been either released as a review copy, or someone had actually found a copy of the game ahead of time. They uploaded it to the internet, and people were downloading the game and playing the game weeks ahead of time. And they were like, oh, well, I'm going to buy the game when it comes out anyway, so this is okay, this is acceptable. It's not. Under no circumstances is stealing like that allowed. You know, you might say that the game medium right now is kind of the exception because they didn't really go through that transformative period, but I am a strong supporter of buying games and not being an asshole pirate. And so, you know, Venomous Fatman says, what do you feel about, you know, people who break street date? Number one, anyone who pirates a game is I completely disagree with that, 100%. Number two, now if you're just talking about breaking street date, meaning, oh, I work at Walmart and I fucking took a copy of Black Ops 2 weeks ahead of time, that's wrong too, because you're stealing. It's very possible that stuff like that can happen in the future. I don't believe in breaking street date. I think it's wrong. I think that everyone should have a fair shake. One other thing that I really don't agree with, which unfortunately did happen with Super Street Fighter 4, is the game developers deciding to give promotional copies of the games to the top tournament players. So for example, I know for a fact that Justin Wong had a copy of Super Street Fighter 4 before anyone else. Why? Justin Wong was the national champion at the time. Why would you give him an unfair advantage by giving him a copy of the game ahead of time? Your guess is as good as mine. It just doesn't seem to make sense. You would think that if you're trying to propagate that the common person's going to buy your game, you would probably not keep these people, these elite few who are on the top, on the top. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Just from a gamer's perspective, like, I was pissed when I found out that he was on GameTrailers.com, he was playing the game, he was doing, before the game was even out, he was showing people how to do combos and strategies. I'm like, why does he know this? Why does he have the game? It doesn't make sense. He shouldn't have the game. He should have to wait like everyone else, buy the game so we're all on an equal playing field, and that's just my opinion. But it was kind of funny because it ends up that he lost the Evo anyway because he decided not to play the game and to practice for the Ultimate Gamer, which he failed at miserably. But and then on Saturday, John's going to be coming over. But here's the thing: there's a catch this week. We possibly have an opportunity to get our hands on a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 early, and it's through a favor basically. And we're not, you know, it's not breaking street date or anything because we're not buying the game or anything like that. We're just getting an advanced copy, and you know, then we'll be legally purchasing our copies of the game on Tuesday when the game is released. One other thing that I really don't agree with, which unfortunately did happen with Super Street Fighter 4, is the game developers deciding to give promotional copies of the games to the top tournament players. So for example, I know for a fact that Justin Wong had a copy of Super Street Fighter 4 before anyone else. Why? Justin Wong was the national champion at the time. Why would you give him an unfair advantage by giving him a copy of the game ahead of time? Your guess is as good as mine. It just doesn't seem to make sense. You would think that if you're trying to propagate that the common person's going to buy your game, you would probably not keep these people, these elite few who are on the top, on the top. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Just from a gamer's perspective, like, I was pissed when I found out that he was on GameTrailers.com, he was playing the game, he was doing, before the game was even out, he was showing people how to do combos and strategies. I'm like, why does he know this? Why does he have the game? It doesn't make sense. He shouldn't have the game. He should have to wait like everyone else, buy the game so we're all on an equal playing field, and that's just my opinion. But it was kind of funny because it ends up that he lost at EVO anyway because he decided not to play the game and to practice for the Ultimate Gamer, which he failed at miserably. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to segment 2 of Hate Live, which is the Back in the Day segment. And tonight we've got a very, very special episode of Back in the Day because for the very first time I'm opening up and being honest about Evolution 2005. This is an event that for many people they thought was highly controversial. I'll explain why. And it's a very unique situation, a unique time in my life for what was going on. The years of 2005 through 2007 were the years where I was incredibly into and dedicated to Street Fighter. I was playing it all the effing time. My free time was all Street Fighter. My travel was all Street Fighter. All my money for my, went into this hobby that was Street Fighter. And in the year 2005, to give you guys some perspective, I had been traveling around and playing in certain tournaments regionally around the East Coast, and in particular I had been trying to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's the game that started it all and really made Street Fighter a competitive force on the map. Up to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, there were different versions of Street Fighter 2 that had been released, but never had anyone really said, wow, this game feels balanced. This game really feels like this is a tournament level game. And finally that game it introduced so many things like supers. For the very first time, you could have a super move that you get by fighting and getting hit and also doing combos and stuff. You tech hit throws, where when you get thrown, you can reduce the damage or escape the throw. All those were concepts, all introduced by that game. And so that game kind of became the quintessential top of the heap when it came to competitive fighting games. Now, this is a funny story. I didn't play that game when it was new. When that game was new, my local arcade didn't get it. I was busy playing other games that had come out in the meantime, like Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct and stuff like that. And it wasn't until much later that my arcade got things like Street Fighter Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and then I got back into Street Fighter 3, and of course the Versus series, Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, etc., etc. So, excuse me. So, I didn't play any console games at all during this era. I missed out on the entire, PS2 era of gaming because I was so busy playing Street Fighter. Now, in particular, I liked Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I liked Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was not as good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as I was at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but I actually played it more. So at the time, I had been traveling to places like Texas and Philadelphia and stuff like that. I would go all around the country traveling and participating in these tournaments. And incidentally, it was around this time period when I met John Rambo for the first time, and we became friends and later on travel companions going to all those tournaments. But that's not the point of this story. The point of this story is, in the year of 2005, it was a unique and really tumultuous year for me because I had moved out of my parents' house, got a 3-bedroom apartment that I was sharing with 2 roommates in more northern Connecticut. It's actually still southern Connecticut, but it's the northern part of southern Connecticut because I wanted to move next to my job. At the time, I was working for a place called Wells Fargo Financial. It was a place that gave out mortgages, credit cards, personal loans. But the catch here, which they didn't disclose to me when I was getting hired, is that it was basically mostly to people with bad credit, and we gave incredibly high interest rates, but the catch was we would give it to people with incredibly bad credit, and what we would do is, let's say, for example, these people really are in dire straits. They can't pay their bills anymore. They've got $20,000 in credit card debt. They have no money to pay, and so all their bills are past due. We would give them loans for up to almost 100% of the value of their house to pay off their credit cards. And of course, we'd charge them an exorbitant amount of money in interest to do it. But for them, they would see it as savings. Hey, at least we can now make the payment monthly and we're not going delinquent and it's not killing our credit. The problem was two things. Number one, a lot of these people, they already racked up $20,000 in credit card debt and then they put that on a mortgage. Guess what? I'm going to go do it again because now all my credit cards are free and clear. So they racked themselves right back to the situation that they were in, only this time they had no equity in their home to solve the problem. Number two, the housing market crashed, and so even though we may have given them 100% of the value of their home on the loan, guess what? Now their home value is only this. They have a loan for twice the amount of money as what their house is worth. So all this was happening while I worked there. And quite honestly, I had a manager who didn't like me at all. We weren't compatible. He lived one kind of a lifestyle, I lived a different one. Not compatible, and for whatever reason he just didn't like me, and he decided that he was going to give me the worst possible leads in the office, and I struggled to even close loans because he would give me people with such low credit. I would work to try to get them a loan for 2 months, and then they would get denied in the end because their credit's so low. And I'd be like, what do you want me to do? You give me the worst possible leads in the fucking office, and you do it every month, to the point where I called in the district manager, the district supervisor, to tell her, but guess what? I found out she trained the guy, so she protected him. So anyway, the bottom line, the reason I'm telling you this, I was quitting. I had to get out of there. It was either going to be fired or I had to quit, okay? So I quit my job. But the thing was, that whole year, I had traveled the country to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I knew that I was moving out of my apartment. I had an apartment, like I said, this 3-bedroom apartment. I knew eventually I'd be moving out, but it was still like 6 months on the lease, and I didn't know where I was going to get the money from to pay the bills. I didn't know anything at that point. I did have a job interview lined up for Best Buy in a few weeks, but basically it was like a couple of weeks before EVO. And I said, I want to go so bad because I've been practicing this, everything I've been doing, waiting for, but it was a huge risk because I didn't have the money to go. So I did one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, and please, I beg of you, unless you're on your last legs financially, do not ever do what I'm going to tell you I did to pay for my EVO trip. I took cash advances on all of my credit cards. So we're talking thousands of dollars in cash advances. I ended up paying off the interest alone for that for about 5 years. I'm not kidding. The reason that I had such credit card debt, and I told you just recently that I paid off all my credit card debt a year or two ago, is because that dumb decision to take out like $3,000 with cash advances on my credit cards fucked me up financially for years. So don't fucking do it unless you're destitute. Okay? Now, and by the way, I see a bunch of trolls again, so I just banned another one. Okay. So, on a whim, no job, unemployed, recently, left my job, on bad terms, by the way, because I hated the fucking manager, and I had it out with him and told him he was a fucking asshole, and that he doesn't know how to run a branch, and the only reason he had his job is because basically his district manager is a fucking cocksucker and protected his ass, because I would have had him fucking fired for the shit. I actually found out he was illegally granting loans to certain people, which I'm not even going to get into. I will not get into it here. Okay. So, on a whim, I go out to EVO. Now, the thing is, I didn't go with anyone. I went by myself on my own ticket. I remember the flight sucked. It was a flight. This is the dumbest flight I've ever heard of. Where do you hear this? So, my flight left from Connecticut, flew from Connecticut to New York, and then from New York to the West Coast. So, the flight from Connecticut to New York was the worst flight I've ever been on. It was a tiny fucking plane. Only me and one other woman were on it. I don't understand how that worked. It was the most crazy-ass turbulence I've ever been in my life. It literally felt like you were on a roller coaster, and a giant head roller coaster in his hands was going like this. That's what the flight fucking felt like, so that was awful. When I finally got out there, I ended up, taking a taxi or whatever to the venue. Now, at the time, EVO was being held in Vegas. It still is held in Vegas. But at that time, they were trying to every year have a different place on the Strip. I don't particularly remember what casino they were at that year, but they were at a casino. I do remember that much. And I didn't have any roommates or anything like that. I did have enough money, luckily, let me think about that now. Did I have my own room? I can't even remember. I don't think I had my own room. I think because I had so little money, I ended up rooming with a bunch of people from Maryland who I knew because they're cool. They're real cool people. They'd come up to the northern area of the East Coast to play in Street Fighter tournaments before. I think I talked to them online and arranged to stick my leg in and get a spot in their room. Isaac Graham was actually one of the people who I hung out with during that EVO. And so they were real cool. I kind of hung out with those group of players during that EVO. And I remember being pretty much alone. No one else from my area, the East Coast, no one from Connecticut had gone to EVO. And that could be a daunting thing. When you're going up in a tournament, it's a nationals tournament. And yeah, it's an open thing and anyone can enter. But back then, keep in mind, Street Fighter 4 wasn't out. It was a much smaller event. And it was a lot more daunting because almost everyone there is a killer player. They've been playing forever. There's no opportunity to play multiple levels of people who aren't very good before you get to someone who's good because the tournaments were much smaller. So, it looks like we got more lag on the stream, everyone. Isn't that great? Anyway, so I go out there by myself pretty much, kind of nervous because I've never been out there to the West Coast by myself before. But I said, I'm just going to do it. To hell with it, shoot the J. This may be, my final opportunity because I don't even have a job. I don't know if I'm going to find another job. Let me just do this, get it out of the way, and I'll get it out of my system, and maybe I'll never go to EVO again. Who knows? If I have no money, there's no way I can go to EVO ever again. And here's the thing about EVO 2005 that was so controversial. Anyone who played Super Turbo at the time will tell you this. This was a time period when EVO was adjusting to the times. At the time, arcades were going out of business. The pastime of going to your local arcade on a stand-up cabinet and playing with someone in person, those days were going away. What had happened is that recently, games such as Third Strike and Super Turbo had been released on the Xbox, and people were playing them on the Xbox online. And so they were playing that way. Now, it was incredibly laggy, and it was very hard to learn anything, but that was the best you got back then, okay? And what EVO decided to do is they wanted to, for the first time, they wanted to convert their tournament from an all-arcade cabinet tournament to all consoles. The problem with doing that was that there weren't widely accepted console versions of these arcade games that people felt were arcade perfect. So, for example, with the exception of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, every game had a difference from the arcade version. Capcom vs. SNK 2 ran much faster on consoles than it did on the arcade boards, so you had to actually be faster and have better hand-eye coordination to be better on it on consoles. Third Strike, or Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, had several differences from the arcade version that a lot of people eventually forgot about because everyone just got used to the console versions and played that. But Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo by far had a bad run when it came to console versions. In this particular case, they decided that for EVO 2K5, 2005, they were going to use the PlayStation 1 version from the Street Fighter collection of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And what a gaffe that was, because people were like, oh, we can't find that game. The game's like 3 years old. It's hard to get your hands on now. A lot of people, didn't like that version of the game. In fact, I'll tell you that right now, that version of the game is far from arcade perfect. It's got tons of differences. Lots of timing issues, hitboxes that were changed, damage level output that was changed. There's a lot about that game that was changed on the console version, the PS1 version in particular. And so what ended up happening was, there was controversy because all the old school Super Turbo players who traditionally attended EVO, okay, and played on arcade cabinet, said, well, how are we going to do this? We've always played on arcade cabinet. That's the real definitive version, and you're telling us to play an inferior version that is not the same as the arcade. And so some old school players put up a big stink. One of them, I'll tell you right now, was Alex Valle. I don't want to play on console. This is bullshit. Of course, later on, everything became console. It didn't matter anymore what these guys said. They ended up playing on console regardless because it was what they did at EVO. But at the time, it was this big controversial thing. We don't like this, blah, blah, blah. Now, let me tell you guys something. I, in particular, got into Super Turbo after the days when it was a new game. I started playing it around the year 2000 in arcades. It was like, I would play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as my primary game, but whenever I wasn't playing that, I would head over to Super Turbo and play that for hours. And it was known as the thinking man's game because at its core, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is not a complex game. There's only like there's only 16 characters in it. Well, I guess you could say there's more than that if you count Akuma. So, alright, there's a limited amount of character selection. A lot of the characters have similarities, right? Very basic system. There's no gimmicks in that game. In that game, the new gimmick was basically super moves, because that was the game that introduced them. And you could probably, in a couple days of playing it, learn a few characters and be able to play it at a decent competitive level, okay? The trick here is in the nuances. They called it the old man's fighter because the people who'd played that game for years and knew these little tricks, these little timing things that they could use to beat even the peer person who's been playing it for a year and they think that they're really good, that guy would all of a sudden pull something out from his old knowledge that you didn't know and boom, you lose. And that's kind of the game that it was known as. And I was actually a newcomer to the game, considered a newcomer to the game when I was playing it around this time period. People would say, oh, he may be good, but you know what? He wasn't from back in the day, so he's not an OG. That's what they call them, OG, because they think they're gangsters or something. It stands for original gamer, but they call them OGs like, oh, we're original gangsters. Yeah, okay, because you play Street Fighter in a fucking arcade, you're a gangster. Whatever you say, dude. But yeah, I was considered the new kid on the block, and so for me to get respect was like impossible. You're playing Super Turbo, you want respect. You're a kid, you're young, the people who are playing Super Turbo are all in their 30s, you're only in your 20s, who do you think you are to be playing this game, yada, yada, yada. So, I go out there, and I'm going to very shortly reveal something that's going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm not going to reveal it yet. We're going to get to it. So I go out there, and I immediately notice there's an arcade cabinet for Super Turbo, but I'm like, but that's not arcade Super Turbo. What is it? Well, there's a guy, his name was Cigar Bob. I have no idea if he's still around, but at the time, he was an OG, that's what they called him, an OG, whatever, who back in the day was known for playing Super Turbo, but he actually owned arcade cabinets, he built his own cabinets, and he actually built this custom setup where you could have different joystick types and things installed in this cabinet, and it would hook up to a TV that two people could play on. So you could play PlayStation 1 Super Turbo with your style of controller or joystick almost like you're at an arcade. Okay? And that's what everyone was playing on during this entire tournament. Of course, they had other setups, and they were by the way, back then, unheard of to play on a pad. If you were trying to play Street Fighter on a pad, you were shunned. Wow, what a dick. Look at that guy, he's not doing it right. He needs a joystick. Because that's what it was. Everyone grew up in arcades, so that was the way to play, with a joystick and buttons. You were actually made fun of if you played on a pad back then. And so basically, what everyone ended up doing for 2 days before the actual EVO event happened is practice the fuck out of the PlayStation 1 version of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo and tried to learn the differences in the game. Now, it's funny to me because I was there, Cigar Bob was there, there were a bunch of people there who I was very friendly with and I was playing, but it was none of the OGs, right? It wasn't the guys who were synonymous, the Mike Watsons, the Alex Valles, the John Choi's. None of them were the people who were really playing. It was other people who were playing and trying to basically learn the differences between PS1 Super Turbo and Arcade Super Turbo. So when we actually played in the tournament, we know what we were doing. Right? Instead of bitching about it, which is what it seemed all the OGs were doing, we'll just play the game and learn the differences so we know for the tournament. So for 2 days, I was intense amounts of practice and training, basically, for PlayStation 1 Super Turbo, and during that period of time, I learned some major differences about the game, including the fact that some characters were different sizes. They weren't as tall or as short as they were supposed to be, and they had different hitboxes. I found out certain characters did different stun amounts than they did in Arcade Super Turbo. I found out that one of my characters, Vega, was incredibly easy to do these complex combos with, which actually was harder to do in the arcade version of the game. So for me, I was like, wow, I might have gotten off a little easy here because my character's actually better. Now, anyone who practiced knew that. The problem was people were, it's Super Turbo, I'll just show up and I'll just play, right? Because they think, I've been playing this since the 90s, I don't need to practice or anything for all these newcomers that are here, fuck them. So, what ended up happening was, finally after 2 days of practice, this tournament starts. And the way that it worked is that it was like a gauntlet. You started in a pool. You had to win a certain amount of wins in your pool to move on and advance to the bracket. Once you advanced to the bracket, you had to win a certain amount of wins to get to the finals, the top 8 that took place on Sunday. So pools were Friday, the bracket was Saturday, finals were Sunday. So I come in on Friday, you know, ready to go. And I was trying to be very, very laid back, very relaxed, and very calm, not cocky at all or anything like that during this tournament, because I knew I was in foreign territory. I was in enemy territory. I had no friends there. Everyone was a competitor. And I remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and losing and getting all pissed off, saying, fuck, I love this game and I always fucking lose at it. Pisses me off, right? Got all pissy and moany. And then I played Super Turbo. And in my bracket for Super Turbo were 2 great players. One of them's name was Bob Painter, who is a traditional E-Honda player. He's known, you know, throughout the world as an E-Honda player, really well trained one, and he is considered an OG. Okay, there was also another person. I really admit I can't remember who he was. He was known for his Vega. Okay, now here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to fighting games. If you really want to be good at the game, you can't be a one-trick pony. And what I mean by that is a lot of these pro players only get good with one character, and then they end up having mismatches. They end up having situations where they're always at a disadvantage if someone counter picks them or has a character. Your main is basically considered a counter to your character. And a lot of the OGs, unfortunately, are one character player. Bob Painter only plays Honda. He could try playing other characters, but when it comes to tournaments, only plays Honda. The other guy only plays Vega, right? When you really think about it, John Choi, he usually only plays Ryu. Every once in a while, he'll pick old Saga, but he usually picks Ryu. Same thing with Valle. He usually picks Ryu. He'll have 1 or 2 others, but almost 99% of the time, he's going to play with Ryu. So these guys are character specialists. They're not jack of all trades. Me, let me give you an idea of the cast of characters that I use in Super Turbo. DJ, so projectile zoning character with some offense mixed in there. Balrog, a rushdown style character. Vega, who can be played both as rushdown and a keep away style character. So those are my 3 mains when it comes to tournaments. Very, very different gameplay depending on what character I pick. So what I found is when I was going into this tournament, I had an advantage because I had a variety of stuff I could alternate through. So I remember playing Bob Painter and I said, he only picks Honda. This is a shoo-in. DJ, guess what? I ran through Bob Painter. Like, I'm not saying I beat him. I mean, like, I destroyed him. Because it's a complete counter match if you know how to play the match correctly. And I do. And I destroyed him. I think he was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this kid who everyone considers an upstart, you know, a kid who's not an OG, just whooped an OG's ass. And there was like 2 or 3 other people in my bracket who I didn't know, and I beat them pretty convincingly. And then finally I got to the Vega player. And I said, well, you know, I'm not going to pick Vega. So I don't remember if it was Balrog or DJ, but I knew the match, and I beat this guy. So now I made it into the main bracket, and everyone was giving me a pat on the back that day, congratulations. And it was kind of funny because if you got out of your pool, you were called a qualifier because you qualified for day 2. And it was funny because the people who I was hanging out with, remember I said I was hanging out with kind of the Maryland, Baltimore people? It was like Isaac Grant qualified for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Great. You know, I qualified for Super Turbo. Great. Someone else qualified for CVS 2. Great. And this one poor guy who was with us didn't qualify for anything, so we pranked him. That morning when we woke up, we said, well, we're all going to qualifiers breakfast this morning. And he goes, what's that? It says, it's a breakfast that you go to if you qualified for today. You can't go if you didn't, so we'll see you later. And we left the room. Oh my God, it was so funny. We left the room, and we were like halfway down the hall, and then we turned around and came back, and the guy was like sitting on the bed like this, by himself, like sad as hell. We're like, there's no qualifiers breakfast, you idiot. Get down here with us. It was so funny. We pranked the shit out of him. That was really funny. So, day 2 was quite the ordeal, and here's why I say that. First of all, I have to bring this up. Alex Valle did not enter this tournament. Basically, he claimed he was busy and he couldn't show up. Bullshit. He was like, oh, I'm protesting Evo because they're not holding Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to enter or whatever, right? Yet he was still there, but he didn't enter. He did not enter the tournament. So, just to give you an idea of the gauntlet of killers. And I'm going to name some names now, people who I've played and beat that day in Super Turbo for the PS1, that you might be like, what the fuck? Jason Wilson, Mike Watson. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I played John Choi and I beat him too. I apologize because this is a long time ago, almost 10 years ago. I'm almost positive I played Choi and he played Old Saga and I beat him too. Because he could not do a tiger uppercut. Because I'm going to explain to you how funny this situation was. And one other person. I beat like 4 killers. Like OG, highly respected, known back in the day for being tournament winners. I ran through everyone. And at the end of that day, people were coming up to me like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're on fire. You're like the hottest thing right now. You're the hot commodity. We got to hang out with you. Maybe some of that luck will rub off on us. I was like, all right. Here's the thing, okay? Those guys didn't fucking practice. What those guys did, they sat and they bitched and moaned about, oh, it's not Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to play PS1 Super Turbo. Wah, wah, wah. Instead of sitting down, which is what I did, sat down with the game for 2 days, played the fuck out of it, and I learned all the differences of the game. And once I knew all the differences of the game, I knew what was going to work in the tournament and what wasn't. These guys, to give you some perspective, because this is pretty funny, right? They needed to play on joystick, okay? But some of them were used to stand up. So, just to give you some perspective, this is, I'm saying, let's say this is the cabinet. So your hands would be like this and your buttons would be like this. And when you push the buttons, nothing happens. If you have a loose joystick that you're playing with like today on your lap, and you try to slam the buttons, the thing goes all over the place and you lose your bearings. These guys were used to being able to play in arcades where they could really yank on the fucking thing and do it, and it wouldn't move. So their play style actually didn't convert to console gameplay. It just didn't work. And so it was funny because I remember John Choi had this gigantic monstrosity of it was basically a giant wooden box that looked like, 6 buttons and a joystick that was mounted on these like 2x4s that went down into this fucking base of this thing, like a giant piece of plywood that it was drilled into. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he's standing there trying to play, and as he's trying to play with it, the thing is wobbling all around like it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was going like this all over. So he's trying to play people. Oh, I'm going to do Tiger Uppercut when they jump. He wouldn't get it. And then you get destroyed, a big combo. The thing was hilarious. Like, it was laughable because no one wanted to laugh at him because he's an OG. But the thing was going like this. I'm like, how could he fucking play on that? Like, what is he thinking? So it was quite interesting. So, the bottom line is, by the end of the day, I literally beat like 5 more OG players. The only person I had lost to in the tournament is someone I've never effing beaten Super Turbo. His name's Bucktooth. I don't even know if he fucking plays anymore. I really don't. But I could never beat that motherfucker. He was from Texas. He's an Asian guy, and he usually was known for games such as Third Strike and CVS 2. But he played Super Turbo over the years. He was pretty good. I could never fucking beat this guy. His Chun-Li, I don't know, it always got my goat for whatever reason. So it was funny because I lost to him and got sent to the loser's bracket. But then as I went through the loser's bracket, I literally cleaned out the fucking bracket, beating everyone. So now it's huge controversy because guess what? Finals day. Guess how many OGs were in the finals? 0. They didn't make it. They all got eliminated. They all fucked up in the early stages of the tournament and lost. They didn't make it to the finals. So there was such, oh, how could this be a Super Turbo tournament if the original gamers didn't make it to the finals? Maybe they should have fucking practiced the game. Okay? And so I go to the finals, and my first match is against NKI, he's an American, but he lived in Japan for a while, so he's very into Japanese culture, and he plays Chun-Li exclusively. And I've played this guy in tournament before, and he beat me almost every time, right? So we're in tournament, and you can actually watch this. This was recorded. It was on the EVO 2005 DVD. The match I had with him, I played Vega against his Chun-Li, and I ended up beating him. So now I was in the position, boom, if I win like 1 to 2 more matches, I could win the whole event. And then my final match in the tournament was against Tokido, who picked a mirror. We did a mirror match of Vega. And he knew a few things about Vega that I didn't about the mirror match. And just because he knew those few things, he got the jump on me. And I remember distinctly making 1 to 2 major blunders that people were like, why did he do that? I don't know. You know, I was on the stage, I was playing in front of 1,000 or 2 people, and I was, you know, I fucked up, I admit. He beat me. And so what ended up happening, I got 4th place. The top 3 places were all Japanese players. So I ended up basically being the highest ranking American for Super Turbo that year, which was so much, dark side Phil, he placed that high in a tournament. How could this is bullshit. This just proves that console versions will never be accepted. Of course, today, for every game except Super Turbo, we all play console versions because this was where it was going. But those OGs just didn't want to let go, okay? Now, after the tournament, basically, Valle shows up. Oh, that's a joke tournament. Let's have the real tournament now. And we all went to a hotel room. We moved that giant cigar bob cabinet into the hotel room, and we actually hooked up arcade Super Turbo. And we had, like, the tournament after the tournament after the tournament. Now, keep in mind, it's like the middle of the night. It's like 2, 3 a.m., and they wanted me to be in it. I said, fine, I'll be in it, but I was tired, and I lost. And they're like, oh, see? So Phil, you know, got that high in the tournament, but now he lost quick in this one. Obviously, that means that he sucks and it means nothing. No, it means that I was in the fucking tournament room playing games all day and winning, right? While you weren't even fucking here. You show up after the event, and now you want to play me competitively when I'm all drained from playing all weekend. It's bullshit. You know, they're, oh, I beat him after. Doesn't like that matters. No. Evo results will forever show I was the best Super Turbo player that year, period. It doesn't matter if you put 4,000 asterisks next to it, if you say that you had my toe hurt that day, or I had the sniffles and I couldn't play, my joystick wouldn't stop spinning like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I won. And no one can take that shit away from me, okay? Now, the final thing that I'm going to say, and this is going to piss fucking people off. I know it is. Because I lied to everyone and I said, oh yeah, dude, I've been playing Super Turbo like crazy. I've been going nuts playing it, practicing for Evo, and I really put in. The truth of the matter is this, I shit you not. I went to Evo to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I didn't go there to play Super Turbo. In fact, I didn't have a local arcade that had Super Turbo. In fact, I didn't own Super Turbo. I had no means to practice Super Turbo. The only time that I ever played Super Turbo was when I went to a tournament to play something else, and they happened to have a Super Turbo cabinet there. Never did I ever actively practice the hell out of Super Turbo up until 2005, and the bottom line is, the first time I ever played the PS1 version of the game was at Evo. I never touched it besides then. So, literally, because I wasn't being a whiny bitch about it being the PS1 version of the game, in 2 days, I learned enough of the PS1 version to basically be the best player at it at Evo, which if these OGs had just bothered to do that, instead of whining and bitching and stamping their feet and complaining about the controls, they might have done better, right? But instead, they wanted to be the whiners and the complainers because they can't get their way, and they left the door wide open for me to step in and take the whole thing, which is what I did. So, how do you like that? 2 days of practice, and I beat every OG in the building just because I was the one who was willing to put in the time and effort and to dedicate myself to learn the version of the game instead of the people who just wanted to whine and complain about it. And that's literally as soon as I got home. Oh, that victory means nothing. It's an empty victory because it's PS1 version. I'm like, I didn't pick the version of the game. Evo did. I practiced the version that was at Evo and I won. Maybe you should have done that too. And since then, oh, that was it. Phil's a dick. Well, how dare he speak to people like that? Whatever. You know what? The bottom line is, no one can ever take that placing away from me, right? And in future years, I ended up winning Evo qualifiers and stuff in other versions of Super Turbo, so you can't just say I was only the best at that one version. In subsequent versions that they played at Evo, I also did very well in. But that was the one year where everything kind of came together. It was nuts. And it was funny because when I got back from this trip, I actually ended up getting the job at Best Buy. It ended up paying a decent amount of money. And I was able to at least afford the bills, stay in the apartment, the 3-bedroom apartment that I was in at the time, and basically support myself for years to come. I could never pay down the credit cards until I did this YouTube thing. And then this YouTube thing tremendously has helped me to pay off my credit card debt. And now, now I'm going back into debt because I'm moving. Great. All right. So, excuse me. So, there you have it. Oh my God, look at it. Already we got an idiot. Fort isn't taking the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. You know what? I didn't say I won Evo. I said I was the highest placing American. Enjoy your lifetime ban, idiot. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Darkside Phil, or DSP for short. And welcome to DSP Gaming. Now, if you're actually seeing this video, it means that you're not currently a subscriber of the channel. And what I'd like to do is explain a little bit about myself, what I'm all about, and what the channel is. I myself am a former pro fighting game player.
Yeah, all the spooning that goes on in New York, that's already. I don't know, man.
I've got good stories, but they're not really the Marvel.
So, well, are they in like the Capcom gaming scene? No.
Just shit that's happened to me.
I mean, like,
I almost got kicked out of college. That was fun.
What happened?
Well, that's a long story, but it's a good story.
You got time, man.
Want to hear it?
You got nothing but time.
All right. Sorry.
No worries. It'll go back
directly onto your bare toes.
Just walk around this one. Yeah.
Well, basically in college, my room was the party room because me and my roommate both got scholarships to college. So our room was like at the corner of the dorm. So we had our own bathroom, like a huge closet. It was like the best room in the whole fucking dorm. So we had parties every day. And, well, one party, this girl had come and she already had a boyfriend, yada, yada, yada. I messed around with her, whatever. A week after that, we had another party and she came again. So we're having a party, and we had so much liquor, it was like ridiculous. We must have had a whole fridge full of beers, which must have been like 3 or 4 30-packs. We had handles of anything you could think of, tequila, vodka. I mean, it was ridiculous, and everyone in the dorm was there. So some idiot gets the idea that they want to smoke, too. Now, it's one thing to have that much alcohol, but then mixing
have herb, yeah.
You know, it's really pushing it. So someone goes, gets herb, they're smoking in our bathroom. I'm like, oh, this is kind of getting out of hand. But as long as we keep it under control, we should be straight. So, party goes on longer. 2 girls get really drunk. One of them was the girl that I was messing around with. She passes out on my bed. Another girl who actually was a friend of ours passes out in our bathroom. Like, neither of them can move. They're so fucked up. So we're all there, and it's maybe about 1:30 in the morning. The party's just about to end. All of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. What the fuck is that? And we look around. The fire alarm went off.
Wow.
Now, do you know what happens when the fire alarm goes off in college?
No.
Basically, it's total lockdown. Everyone must leave the door regardless of what time it is. You lock your doors, and what happens is the RA goes to every door and unlocks it to make sure no one was asleep, so he can get them out in the event of a fire. So I hear the alarm go off. I go, oh shit! And I get up and I'm like, we have to get everyone out. And I turn around to look for my roommates. Everyone ran out the fucking room except for me. Now I got 2 passed out girls in my room. I'm like, motherfucker! I can't carry 2 girls at once. It's impossible. So I said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run downstairs real quick, see if it's a real fire. If it's a real fire, I'll tell them there's girls up there, and we'll all run up and save them. But I can't carry 2 at once. I'll, kill myself or whatever.
Yeah.
So I run all the way downstairs. It's not a real fire. Someone had pulled an alarm, some bullshit. We don't know what's going on with that. Later on, I actually find out what really happened. The girl who I was messing with had a crazy boyfriend. He came looking for me with a fucking Bowie knife. And he was so drunk when he showed up, he didn't know what dorm I was in. He didn't know what room I was in, but he knew what dorm I was in. So he just started going crazy, with the Bowie knife, and someone called the police, and he cut some fucking water pipe with the Bowie knife.
What?
And somehow, it was so crazy fucking story. He set off the fire alarm, basically, trying to get me out of the building. So anyway, so we go outside, and I'm like, oh, I'm safe, there's no real fire, we're gonna be good, we're gonna be good. Next thing I know, I see the girl who I was messing with walking down the stairs, totally pissed drunk with a firefighter. I'm like, oh, shit. So she walks up to the corner, and the way it was is imagine that this is the corner of the stairwell right here.
Yeah.
She walks up, and she walks down the stairs, she gets to the last stair, she goes, I'm okay, and the firefighter's right here, and she goes, all over his crotch, so he's fucking covered in fucking vomit. He's like, oh, you bitch. He's so pissed. So they fucking cart her back to her apartment. Of course they caught me out. So they dragged me and my roommate back up to our room. And they go, well, we got bad news for you. I'm like, what's that? And not only did we find alcohol, but we found a bowl sitting on your sink. So now we have legal right to search your entire premises for drugs. So they start tearing apart our apartment. Now keep in mind, at this point, it's almost 3, 4 in the morning. We were there from 3 or 4 in the morning till 7 in the morning while they ripped our fucking apartment apart. Imagine going through your house and just ripping your drawers out, throwing your clothes on the fucking floor. And as they're doing this, they're piling it in a pile in the center of our room just to say, fuck you, look at what we can do. Tore our bed apart and everything. So the funniest part of the story is that there was drugs in the room. A big bag of fucking, a chunk of weed was all that was left because I guess they had smoked it all. And it was actually sitting on the counter of my friend's computer that said it was right here.
Yeah.
And the stupid fucking dude, the firefighter, he goes, well, it was actually campus security.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, we gotta look for drugs, and I hear that these kids, they hide it inside their computers these days. What? So we have to check inside the computer. I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking idiot. So he goes, I swear to God, he goes like this, he grabs inside the computer, he unscrews it, he takes the side off, and as he takes the side off, he knocks the weed off the desk onto the floor, and he stomps on it like that, and tracks it into the rug. So they never found the drugs.
Oh, shit.
Me and my roommate and I were cracking up in front of the fucking guy. He's just such a fucking idiot. But basically, we almost got kicked out of school for that. We ended up having to do 20, 30 hours of community service and paying a fine. If you ever catch you drinking on campus ever again, you will be expelled permanently, and we'll make sure you never get into another college.
Shit.
So needless to say, I moved off campus next semester. I commuted for the rest of my college career. Oh, yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, good shit.
So back in the day when Street Fighter 2, the original Street Fighter 2 game, it was cheap to throw someone.
Yeah.
If you do someone no, let me get a throwback, yo. Let me get a throwback. I'm like, now people like me think it's a joke, but they were serious about it.
So back in the day at my local arcade in Bridgeport, now I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is actually the ghetto of Connecticut. And a lot of people are like, oh, Connecticut is rich and shit. No, there's ghettos in Connecticut, that's the arcades I go to. So there's this white dude, and he's playing like the original Street Fighter 2 against this like big Puerto Rican dude, like a gang of Puerto Rican dudes with him. So, alright, playing games, whatever. So he throws him, yo, let me get the throwback. He's like, no, I'm just gonna keep playing. He's playing. Throws him again, yo, let me get the throwback. Like cheesy motherfuckers. No, so he starts talking shit to this, like, gang of Puerto Rican dudes. Like, dude, this guy's the dumbest person I've ever met. So, basically, after playing for like 2 hours, they're just like so heated. And the kid like is like totally oblivious to what's going on, and the guy goes up to him and goes, alright, just to let you know, we're gonna go to something to eat, but we're gonna be waiting outside for you. So we'll see you in about 15 minutes.
I'm gonna have to get second again, you know?
So they walk outside, and one of them actually sits in the car waiting for this kid to come out of the arcade. The kid is shitting his pants. So he goes into the bathroom, right? Where he's like, damn, he's like throwing up, or he's fucking pissing or shitting his pants because he's so scared. 15 minutes pass. A half hour passes. The kid never comes out of the bathroom. Other people have to use the bathroom. The door's not open. Like, dude, the kid's just fucking hard. Now it's been like an hour and a half. The kid's not out. Like, something's wrong. So the owner gets the key, opens up the bathroom. It's empty. I was like, where the fuck did the kid go? So alright, we don't know what happened. Maybe he fucking didn't go in the bathroom. Maybe someone was mistaken. We don't know what happened. So we're all playing games there, and all of a sudden, maybe like 2 hours after he went into the bathroom, we start hearing this noise. What is that noise? What is that noise we hear? Help! Help! Like, where the fuck is that coming from? Like, where's it coming from? Help! What? Well, it's coming from the ceiling. So they get a ladder, and they go up, and they pop out one of the squares. Yeah. The kid fucking climbed into the ceiling of the bathroom, into the ceiling tiles to try to get out of the arcade, so that the kids would not beat his ass. Where the fuck did he think he was going in the ceiling?
Wow, man. You just get smart about this thing.
Dumbest person ever. It's like, ask if there's a back door. Don't try to climb the fucking ceiling tiles to get out. Holy shit. Damn. That was funny. The fire department came.
The fire department.
Hey, he couldn't. They had to cut it out. They had to cut the fucking ceiling out because he was jammed in the ceiling.
Holy shit.
The fireman should have beat his ass.
You gave him a whooping right there.
Piece of shit.
Well, it's not crazy.
That's one hell of a way to avoid an ass whooping.
I was going, ooh, what the fuck is wrong with that?
Destination confirmed.
I don't know this matchup, so this is a problem. I know this matchup way better as Heath than I do as Bison. So, this is going to be a problem.
Let's get started! Fight! The first hit has been recorded. Where did that come from?
Okay, couldn't react.
It's not a comeback.
I did it too early. I couldn't do anything. I was locked in place because of online lag. I love it. Complete lag strategy. It works. Love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Complete lag tactic.
What will happen now? Fight!
Look at that! I can't react! It's too fucking laggy!
First hit! What's that? First hit! The scales have tipped!
What? What? I couldn't move! Fuck this! The match is so fucking laggy, I can't even move, dude!
This could turn it all around!
Look at that! I can't move! This is fucking so laggy! Look at that! You can see the fucking lag spike, dude! Look at this! Oh my fucking god! Every hit he got that round was because of the laggy connection. Oh my god! That is insane amounts of bullshit. Wow. Put that one in the fucking textbook. Complete lag match. Every hit due to fucking stupid lag. I couldn't punish anything he did. Fuck that.
Festival at the Old Temple. Your destiny will be determined here.
A B-ranked freaking Sakura. Damn.
Who will emerge a champion?
I couldn't move. What? I couldn't do anything to that fucking fireball? I didn't do that! Dude, I did Ultra! Come on! Yes, this guy could just do short hurricane over and over, and I can't do anything to it because of fucking stupid online play. Yes.
Fight! This battle pursuit, there's no stopping this battle!
I blocked and still got mixed up anyway. I blocked the right way. I couldn't block! Oh my god! I tried to block the cross up again, it didn't work. I couldn't jump! Oh, fuck this. Wow, congratulations on your win that you don't deserve at all. I can't block an insanely easy to block cross up. Mix-up combo. I can't block. I can't even go through a fucking short hurricane, and I can't jump over an EX fireball. Fuck you. Terrible bullshit.
This could be the end.
Random super. I guess I can't call it random. It was reversal Hail Mary super.
I smell a comeback. Will this gambit work?
What? Are you shitting me? He mashed reversal fucking random EX Dragon Punch. Fuck this guy.
The first hit has been recorded.
Okay.
I smell a comeback. Will this gambit work? Use your opponent's power to your advantage.
I blocked and got hit. Wow. I did Ultra and got hit. Fuck this. Just kill me. Kill me. I block and he gets a giant combo. I do Ultra. Doesn't come out. He does a giant combo. Fuck this.
What will happen now?
Terrible match already. Not what I did. I didn't do that. I did regular fucking kicks. Well, I'm dead. Yep.
Is it the end?
Horrible match. Horrible match where shit comes out that I don't want.
Evil Ryu wins.
Congratulations, you walked forward and behold when all my moves didn't fucking come out. You're great.
North America, drive-in at 9. Destination confirmed.
Alright, here we go. Must play solid, must not choke.
Let's get started. Fight!
And immediately get fucking thrown. Of course. Of course, mash flag tactic.
I smell it. Will this gambit work?
I didn't do that, you stupid fucking gang. This guy's terrible. He's terrible and he wins with complete fucking pattern lag. Yes. I am the quintessential pattern lag king. I'm so good.
Fight! First hit, the scales have tipped.
Yes, you're so good, dude.
The fight has finally begun.
I didn't. What the fuck? Oh yeah, that was definitely in that range.
See that coming.
I can't even do anything.
It ain't over till it's over. This attack could be the last.
Fuck you. And look how he won, Mashing Dragon. He's a fucking terrible fucking scrub and wins with patterns. You suck. You're a terrible fucking player. You don't even understand how to fucking play Street Fighter. You go into a laggy fucking match. You mash out the pattern that works with Ken. You're a terrible fucking player. You should never play the game again. You fucking stupid piece of shit. Terrible, terrible bullshit. I hate that shit, man. I did pattern. Pattern win online. Idiot.
The stage of battle is
Oh god,
set.
a rank B Cammy. I'm gonna get bodied this time. I'm definitely gonna get bodied.
Okay.
What the? Okay, no button. Sure! She whiffs through and I can't punish at all. That was 360. No 360 again. No 360 again. Didn't jump. Look at this! What the fuck is this, dude? Come out with this fucking lag. That was EX hand. Didn't come out. What the fuck, dude? Lag, fucking lag.
The battle continues.
I didn't jump. Oh my god. I didn't fucking jump. Yeah, go ahead, taunt. The lag is fucking match. You're gonna taunt, you fucking little bitch. Slap your fucking face, idiot.
There's a devastating attack coming up. No
What the fuck? I did that when she. Oh my god. That shit came out super late. Oh, you're so good. You're just so good. You're so good because you can fucking play a keep away defensive character in this insane lag. Fuck you, stupid bitch.
Turn it all around.
Wow, you're so good. You're so fucking good. The game's lagged as fuck and you're taunting.
Kami wins.
Fucking idiot. Hate idiots like that, man. Blatant lag, you can tell it's bad, and he fucking taunting because he's so good. Yeah, okay, asshole.
Say which really pisses me off, and this is not me trying to badmouth John Rambo in any way, but in Project 7, this series so far, John Rambo's character in the series gets a lot of the funny parts. He's supposed to be like the deadpan comic that all of a sudden does crazy shit or does silly stuff, and it comes out really funny. And I want to let everyone know that we've been seeing comments on the videos that are kind of stupid, uninformed, and disheartening. Things like, oh, DSP sucks and Howard sucks in this series. It's all about John Rambo, John Rambo, John Rambo, you know. And that's true. A lot of the funny stuff was given to John Rambo. But here's the deal. We all write the episode. Just last week, myself, Howard, and John Rambo got together here in my condo, and we all collectively together put our heads together and wrote all of episode 4 of Project 7, okay? It's a group effort, and it evolves over time. In fact, a lot of the funniest stuff kind of just becomes improv, stuff that we didn't... There's a scene in episode 3 that you're going to see, you're going to piss your fucking pants laughing when you watch it, I shit you not. And you're going to know what scene it is when you see it, and it was completely improv by Howard, by OJ, by a couple different people on the fucking spot. So, for people to say, oh, this one person is completely the funniest person, you're a complete fucking idiot. You don't understand the creative process of how this stuff comes together, the fact that we all put our heads together and write it. It's actually insulting for you to say one particular person is the best person in the series when we all write the series. Case in point, in this teaser trailer, there's a funny scene featuring John Rambo, and everyone says it's the best part of the trailer, and I even saw a comment saying, wow, this is Rambo's the funniest thing. Guess what? I wrote that scene. It was my idea to put that scene in there. I have no problem that it was John Rambo acting it out. In fact, for a lot of the Project 7 series, I've kind of been on the back burner. I've been the character that drives the story, meaning, uh-oh, I'm kidnapped. Uh-oh, now I'm emotional because I've lost my gaming powers. Uh-oh. You know, I'm kind of a tool to get the story moving, but I haven't really been at the forefront. I haven't been the leader of the guys or anything like that as of yet. That will change in future episodes, as you're going to see, but for now, I'm doing the role that I need to do in these episodes. I don't need to be absolutely fucking laugh-out-loud hilarious. John Rambo's had lots of opportunities to be laugh-out-loud hilarious so far, and so he comes across as maybe the funniest character. There's a difference between saying John Rambo is the funniest character in this series versus, oh, John Rambo's the only good thing about this series. Because then you have no idea how the series works, how a creative process works, and you're insulting everyone else who works on the fucking episodes. So shut your fucking mouths or get blocked. That's it.